It's a lot of fitness acrobatic type stuff.
It is.
Right?
It's very circus Olay. If you've ever seen the aerial circus Olay, but we also do fire breathing, fire dancing. I mean, you name it. And people come to Nashville all the time for venue, for just like entertainment and the big corporate events.
Sure.
And so it's great. There's big corporate events there, and then all of a sudden you got people breathing fire and, contortion and flying from the ceiling.
Right.
Turns it into Nash Vegas kind of thing.
It really does. It really does, yes.
It might even blow something up, right?
Sometimes we blow stuff up. Yeah, we have the permit to blow things up if needed.
That's cool.
Put it that way, yeah.
The award-winning Tennessee Wildcast is on the air with the latest on hunting, fishing, boating, wildlife watching, and all things outdoors. Make welcome your host, drummer and outdoor expert novice, Jason Harmon.
All right. Hello, everybody, and welcome to this edition of Tennessee Wildcast. We're glad y'all are tuning in today, and we've got a fun show. Thanks for tuning in this week, and I've got Mr. Don King with me today. He's going to help us shuffle the cards around the poker table here.
Yeah, you bet. I'm glad you dealt me in this week here, Jason.
Yeah.
I'm really glad to have the doctor in the house.
The doctor, yes, Dr. Brooks Tiller is with us today. He's a speaker, an author, an athlete, and a performance coach, a doctor in physical therapy.
Yeah, and a little circus activity on the side.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting conversation. I can already tell. But yeah, Dr. Brooks Tiller, drBrookstiller.com if you want to check him out.
Yeah.
But anyway, he's lives here in the Nashville area and came across your Instagram page. You sent us a little doctor's note.
I think we got a prescription, didn't we? Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, tell us about that.
Yeah, I'm a doctor, so you can print it out and take it into work. I don't know if they'll actually like it, but you can tell them that you needed a little recreation, need a little nature therapy, and go spend the day out fishing or hunting or just walking in the woods, and that's all we need, just a little time outside.
Yeah, that does a body a world of good, doesn't it?
That might work at the wildlife agency.
It better.
But I'm not sure. It may not work downtown Nashville at the offices down there, but worth giving it a try, right?
Give it a shot.
Tell them what your Instagram handle is there.
It's Dr. Brooks Tiller, DrBrookstiller.
So you can find the nature deficit prescription.
That's right.
Form there on his Instagram and on his website.
Yeah,
so.
Get rid of that nature deficit disorder. It's running rampant.
It is a nasty thing, I tell you.
So anyway, today's going to be a fun show. We're going to be chatting about the outdoors and health and fitness and being prepared to get outside and enjoy the outdoors. But just want to learn a little bit about you before we get too deep into it. How did you learn about the outdoors? How did you get introduced to hunting and fishing?
It all started when before I could think, when I was growing up, went out with my dad, my granddad, and whether we were squirrel hunting, rabbit hunting, deer hunting. Normally, if I went deer hunting, nobody saw anything. But I always
squirm there.
Yeah, but I was having fun. And I was out there with them. One of my earliest memories is rabbit hunting with my dad and my granddad. We didn't have dogs. We went to my other grandfather's farm, and there's a lot of briar patches along the cow pastures.
Yeah.
And I wound up being the dog most of the time. I had to
run them over this way.
Exactly. And we would get to the briar patch. Pawpaw's on one side, Dad's on the other, and we knew there's probably rabbits in there. And I was small enough I could kind of weasel my way through, and I had the briar-proof pants on, and I would just go tromping through. And if I saw one, I may yell or I'd hear them shooting. I knew that we got a rabbit. So that was one of my earliest memories. And I was not old enough to even carry a shotgun, but there were times when if we saw one sitting somewhere, I might get to pull the trigger, although it was being kind of manhandled by Dad. But, and it was really how I started and then got in more into squirrel hunting and then as I got older, of course, deer and now turkey and doing everything else. But that's really how I got started, just walking in the footsteps of Pawpaw and Dad.
Yeah.
And I know you have a passion for introducing folks to the outdoors and getting people out there. I noticed a video on your website. Your son Thor, which is a really cool name.
Thank you.
I have to throw that out there. You took him on his first hunt. Tell us about that experience.
Yeah, I mean, he's only 3, and I just wanted to get him out there. I remember my dad and granddad taking me, and I told he wanted a bow. Actually, he saw me shooting a bow in the backyard, and he wanted a bow, so he saved up his coins, and we went to the store, bought a bow, and we got out there and took his bow and took my bow, and I knew it was going to be an adventure. And most of my life is nothing but an adventure, which I love it, And in the whole trip, we went to a blind, we sat there, and I made sure it was a warm day so we wouldn't get cold. And it was we probably got out the blind like 1 o'clock in the afternoon, knowing that they're not going to be moving very much. We sat there maybe 15 minutes, and it was an adventure. If you watch the video, I won't go into detail of what all happened, but when little kids go to the woods, they have things that happen and you're not always prepared for.
Yeah.
But we had to go back to the truck, take care of business, and then after that, he decided he wanted to go just pretty much hiking, and so we swapped out the bow for a 22 in case we happened to see a squirrel, and we just went walking, and I let him guide me. He likes to draw maps. We talk about maps a lot at the house, and so he would just kind of direct me, and by directing me, I would help him a little bit. Do which way should we go, and we walked probably a good mile or two up and down the hills and hollers, and ended back up at the blind. And he was so proud, but it was the thing of getting him out there. He just enjoyed it. It was like, loved being in the woods, spending time, and it was just us. There's no distractions. And I think for him, like even now that we're going fishing, just went last week over to Laurel Hill with my dad, and we're there 2 hours, and he's ready to go. We'll pack it up and go in, but every fish, he catches every fish, of course, and he catches the
and
big
they're this
ones.
big, right?
They're always this big, and so it's just a joy to take him out there. But that first trip was just, I think it was more exciting for me than it was for him. But knowing that he just loved being out there and just being with me was just a joy.
Yeah.
And you got to see some deer.
We did.
One showed up.
We actually got back to the blind. We're in the field, and I think I put on the video. We're shooting a slingshot in the middle of the field, and I look at the far end of the field, and I see a deer walking out into the field. And so he and I was like, let's keep, I started whispering to him, and we got down and crawled back over to the blind and got in the blind and, let him look through the binoculars. And we saw actually 2 deer that day, and it was really nice. On the way back to the truck, it was, he was ready to go, and we're walking back, and I mean, I got choked up because I'm just, as I'm walking, I'm just thinking about, this is the land that my dad and my granddad taught me to hunt on, that I've hunted on for as long as I can remember. And I was just grateful. This is the 4th generation tiller on this land. And I was getting a little choked up, and, just thankful for the Creator for giving me this opportunity.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden 3 deer pop up out of this hollow and just stop up, over in the field. And he actually saw him first because I was just deep in thought, we're holding hands walking through the field. Daddy, and he points, and there's 3 deer just stopped on top of this little hill, this little ridge right there in the field, just looking at us. And I was like, I got chills, and I was, that was one of those experiences where I just kind of had to look up and say, all right, okay, gotcha, kind of thing. And it was a great time. That's
cool.
I'll never forget that one.
Great memories. That's awesome. I love taking my son out too, and it's fun.
Yeah,
it's real fun.
It kind of appears that the Tiller family always, every day there's an adventure, and I'd like to, say, hey, go visit the website because it's fun looking at the videos and things. And you guys adventure to Costco.
Yes. Yes. Everything is an adventure.
That's fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Well, when you have somebody in the family called Circus Mom,
yeah,
you know, that does tend to make things fun.
Yeah, we have circus equipment all around your house. Our house is hunting and circus stuff, and we live somewhere between a tent in the woods and a circus tent somewhere. That's kind of you'll catch us somewhere in between.
Well, tell us a little bit about the circus things y'all do, and probably not the normal circus. You don't have lions and tigers and bears and that kind of thing.
No live animals. I'm the closest thing to a wild animal that we have. But we do a lot of performing for big events, whether it be concerts, corporate events, things of that nature.
The Opry.
Yeah, we've been
Cool.
we've been blessed to be on the Opry, both downtown and the new one out at Opryland area. We've hit pretty much every major venue. We've worked with Predators and Titans and country music stars and videos and Nissan and everybody that's big in town. We've pretty much either been at their place or worked with them.
And it's a lot of fitness acrobatic type stuff.
It is.
Right?
It's very Circus Olay. If you've ever seen the aerial Circus Olay, but we also do fire breathing, fire dancing. I mean, you name it, and it's and a lot of times it's funny because we will be in a situation where somebody's like, "Hey, are you able to do this?" And we'll a lot of times say yes, and then
go learn it,
figure out how to do it, and
we can make that happen.
Yeah, I mean, we know that it's possible. Then, we'll make sure it happens somehow, and then we give it's just giving someone that wow appeal, and people come to Nashville all the time, for venue, for just like entertainment and the big corporate events.
Sure.
And so it's great. There's big corporate events there, and then all of a sudden you got people breathing fire and, contortion and flying from the ceiling.
Right.
It's really, really impressive.
Turns it into Nash Vegas kind of thing.
It really does. It really does, yes.
And they might even blow something up, right?
Sometimes we blow stuff up. Yeah, we have the permit to blow things up if needed.
That's cool.
Put it that way, yeah.
Maybe we should get something to blow up at our shows. Don.
Man, that would be something.
I think the
wouldn't
road
it?
crew could have a little pyrotechnics.
Yeah, maybe so. Yeah.
We can figure that out.
Right under the drum riser.
Yeah. Just have them shoot out of the crowd. Well, let's move on. That's a cool transition. Y'all are, fit folks, healthy. It's amazing what y'all can do with the circus, but then you translate that to healthy hunting, and you have Healthy Hunter TV on your website,
right?
And I see you got a Healthy Hunter T-shirt on right now.
I like the way Brooks talks about conserving the hunter,
right?
Given that guy that's been doing it all his life, maybe a few extra years in the woods, that he might not have otherwise if he didn't take care of himself. And so talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, it really started, I guess, with my grandfather. When I was 17, my grandfather passed away, and like I told you earlier, my dad, my granddad, and I, we were always together.
Yeah.
I had 2 uncles that we hunted with a lot, and several cousins, and we were always in the woods doing something in some form or fashion, fishing, hunting, just building a fort or something, in the woods. And I lost him when I was 17, and it was at that age where, you're not quite smart enough to ask the questions you ought to ask yet. And as I got older and I went to physical therapy school, I got out, and I was traveling around a lot, working with a lot of professional and high level athletes.
Right.
And I actually had a client who reminded me of my granddad. He came in, big scruffy white beard, and one of his goals was to be able to bow hunt, to shoot his bow. And and his shoulders were pretty messed up, and I started working on his shoulders, and when he was able to pull back his bow, it was like a light went off in my head of, this is what I need to be doing. It's not about seeing somebody on TV. And as an athlete or former athlete, however you want to consider me, that's where I always thought I would be, is playing baseball on the big stage or something. But working with those guys and then working with this guy who, all his goal was to shoot a bow and to be able to, and I had another guy who just wanted to be able to go fishing with his grandkids. And it hit me. I was like, man, that's it. And I can't go back. I'm not able to turn the clock back and tell myself 17, hey, like your granddad might can stay around a little longer if he's a little healthier. And this is things you should know, or these are things you should ask, or this is what you should enjoy these moments with him a little bit more. And I can't go back and do that. But what I can do is I can share what I've learned over the years working with, the elite and through all the education. But I can share that with those who can go spend time with their grandkids. And if one kid gets to spend one more day with dad or granddad in the woods, and it could be a complete game changer for that kid. He goes fishing instead of going getting in trouble.
Yeah.
Instead of doing something that he shouldn't be doing, he's sitting in a deer stand with dad or granddad, and the wisdom that he can gain that day over the trouble he can get in, it could change that kid's life. And, no telling what the impact will be. And so for me, that's really where I'm at. I just, right now, my focus is helping outdoorsmen, whether it be on a one-on-one basis. If somebody's like, hey, I want to go get fit for this or that, I can help them and get them set up for that. Or if it's just simple exercises that, I don't even work on a one-on-one, just in a article or a video. Hey, there's an exercise I can do to help me get ready for turkey season.
Yeah. We were talking earlier, you don't have an office per se that people can come visit, but they can contact you and you can kind of work with them on their schedule and that sort of thing. So
exactly. So, and I do that through either online with the miracle of the interwebs,
social media and everything.
Yeah. I can, we can see where you're at, whether if you're like, hey, I'm going to go elk hunting. Well, you're different than, hey, I'm a big duck hunter.
Right.
What we're going to do may be different. And so I don't really do a cookie cutter program.
Sure.
I kind of see where you are, what your goals are, and then figure out how we can go from A to B, just like a map. We got to follow the course. And then I can do it personally, go meet you at your gym and do it, but you can also do it online, with the, take a video of this exercise or just stuff you can do at home. I work out in my own backyard most of the time. Just you're busy, you got kids, you got family, you got stuff going on, your job. If I've got 30 minutes, I want to be able to get it in and be done. And very minimal stuff. You don't need a fancy gym. If you got a backpack and you can pretty much everything you need to do with just a backpack if you really wanted to. But that's really the focus, is just helping people meet them where they are. And it doesn't have to be anything crazy fancy. Just,
well, you say you tailor it to that person, but give us an example, say in your diet. What would you change in your diet for a certain activity? Say I'm trying to get back into deer hunting. What would you suggest? And strength training and that kind of thing. What would you suggest?
So if it was just, we look at your diet, the first things first is most people don't drink enough water.
Okay.
You're dehydrated, and people don't realize even in the wintertime you can be dehydrated. In the summer we sweat, and so we know, we're dehydrated. But in the wintertime, when we breathe out, every time you see that puff of smoke, if you will, that breath come out, that is water, particles coming out. So you're going to get dehydrated. And when you're dehydrated, it increases your blood pressure. Your heart has to work harder. Then you see a deer, and there's actually a study that shows that the deer or the buck fever is real. And they had a study.
It is, yes.
And and they had a study where it could just be a doe walking by, and your heart rate can elevate to pretty much what a dead out sprint would be. And you're sitting there and stand. Yeah. Well, think about that, and then you get all this adrenaline rush, and then if you kill something, and now you've got to drag it or load it up, you got to pick up 200 pounds or even just 100 pounds, but it's oddly shaped.
Sure.
And you're dehydrated. Your blood pressure's already up. Your heart's already overworked. Now you got all this adrenaline pumping you up. You're going to you're going to stress your body. And that's why, and in cold, your body naturally has to work harder just because it's cold and the blood pressure thing again. So one thing would just be drink more water. A lot of guys would take coffee to the woods
In
or
the
whatever.
thermos,
In a thermos, which is fine, but maybe pack a couple of things of water with you.
Yeah.
And, make sure that you're drinking your water even the day before, the night before, kind of overhydrate if you have to.
Right.
And, that would be the most simple thing to do is drink water throughout the week. Even if you may not have as much that day, at least your body has that water in there and you're getting it. And other than that, it would just be, watching what you eat and just being aware of what you're eating. And I mean, as outdoorsmen, when we're eating deer or turkey or fish that we've got ourselves, we do probably take a little more pride in that, a little more awareness of this is where it came from. But whenever we're running down the road and you grab a sack through a window, you're not going to be thinking about where did this come from. You're just shoving it down your gut, So be aware of what you're eating. Look at the sugar is a big thing to watch out for. Sugar can actually dehydrate you. It'll hold on to more. And then just being able to get ready and do things that'll challenge you a little bit. You don't have to be a marathon runner, but do a little something every day just for 10 minutes. Do 100 reps or 10 minutes of walking just to get that heart rate up a little bit, just so when that deer does walk up, your body doesn't overreact and freak out and like, why is my heart pumping?
Yep.
So you have that, you're used to it.
Yeah, because, you got about a month there before the season really gets underway in September, or you could be training and walking and just preparing yourself.
Yeah, take the stairs at work, and
We do that a lot around here.
Yeah, the elevator's been out for about a month.
that's awesome. My kind of place. But and walk around at lunch. Take a after you eat your lunch, just take a walk. 5-10 minutes, and something as simple as that. But I mean, if you're as us Eastern Flatland guys, as they call it, if we want to go out west, I mean, our training is going to be different. We're going to have to put more miles in on the boots with the backpack and all that. I mean, elevation, you can't really train for that.
Right.
Unless you've got a bariatric chamber in your backyard or something. I don't have the money for that. But so you got to kind of cater to what you're doing.
Yeah.
But, if you're going to be duck hunting or deer hunting, there's a few stretches we can do to make sure that our hips and our low back doesn't hurt us. Keep those kind of limbered up. But, drink water, cut down on the sugar, be aware of what you're eating, and just the more you move, the better you're going to move.
Hey, I got one question regarding diet. What about, you hear a lot of conversation these days about a keto friendly or keto diet. What exactly is that?
So a classical ketogenic diet is primarily your body is learning how to burn fat. Your body is learning how to burn ketones, which is a byproduct of fat. And so in that, it's been used a lot for a lot of mental brain functions, from anything from ADD, autism, things of that nature have shown to work well.
Improve.
And you're more focused and with your brain power, if you will. And the main thing in there is your carbohydrates are cut down really low. So your body is learning to run on fat. So you have fat and protein, and then you have just a little bit of carbohydrates. Technically, I guess scientifically, quote unquote, the ketogenic diet is 50 grams of carbohydrates is your max. I mean, that's not much at all.
Which turns to sugar too. It's that carbohydrate.
Right. Yeah. I mean, so you have that 50 grams but that's all the sugar that your body gets.
Right. That's good.
Yeah.
Keeping that low.
Yeah. And then, and it does kind of mimic a fasting diet in a way, which instead of just not eating, you're getting stuff. You're getting the protein and the fats, which fats is how your hormones are made out of fat. Your muscles made out of protein. And, carbohydrates is that quick burst of energy. It's that real dry kindling you throw in the fire. But the fat is the big log that's going to burn all night long. So you could, if you were more in a ketogenic state, which We wake up after 6-8 hours of sleep. Our body's kind of in a ketogenic state already because we haven't had any quick carbohydrate fuel. And if we didn't eat for 3 or 4 days, our body would start living off our own stored body fat. And and then, but it's more of a just training to get there. The ketogenic diet is more of getting there. And we do a lot of low carb recipes and things of that nature, just because of the sugar factor.
Sure.
In 200 years ago, our ancestors had less sugar in a week than we'll have in a meal.
That is pretty amazing when you start looking at those stats about how much sugar there is in everything that's out there.
Yeah, and it's hidden in a lot of places. You don't realize.
Yeah. Right.
Well, I don't want to run out of time before we hit on the thing that caught my eye when I was checking out your Instagram page, the American Ninja Warrior.
Yeah.
We have American Ninja Warrior in the house, and I want to hear about that experience. That is so cool.
It happened, kind of just happened. It was just I don't know any other way to put it, but someone saw a video of our circus act and contacted us, and my wife had been after me for a while. You need to get on American Ninja Warrior. These guys are doing this crazy stuff. You do crazy stuff. And I just never really checked into it. They sent a thing, hey, y'all, would y'all want to put in? And my wife was actually pregnant at the time.
Okay.
And, so you make a little video, send it in. Well, you get a phone call and says, hey, we want you to come be on the show. Can you be here in 2 weeks? So there's not a lot of prep time. You're either ready or you're not. It's kind of
Hollywood calling.
Yes, right? Exactly.
Here we go.
We're going under the big lights. So we took a trip. My wife's 9 months pregnant at the time. Actually, our daughter was born about a week after they filmed. But we go down to Daytona, and it's an all-day process. And you get to see all the big Hollywood lights, the big Hollywood cameras, and through the process. At first, I'm planning on winning $1 million. That's my objective.
Yeah,
of course, you're going to win.
Exactly. And I fall short. And at first, it was kind of like, you're defeated and you don't want to think about it. But the encouragement and stuff from other friends, from my wife, it was amazing to be able to see like what happened after that. And it's blessed me to have opportunity. I get to go into schools and other places where I might not be able to go and speak and talk about overcoming obstacles, but also get to talk about my love of the outdoors, my passion for hunting and fishing. And I get to bring it to people, some kids who may not ever see it otherwise or hear about it.
Right.
So it's been really a blessing to do that.
Cool.
We kind of didn't really talk about that much, but that's a big part of your life too, is the public speaking.
Yes.
So that's another reason to go visit the website.
Yeah, the website's got a lot of information on it. Your blogs are out there, your videos, your some reels from your speaking engagements and things. So go check that out. That's drbrookstiller.com, drbrookstiller.com, and give him some love and check it out. And we appreciate you being here today.
Thanks for having me. It's a blessing. I love what you're doing here, and we want to conserve the outdoorsmen so that we can conserve the land and the wildlife.
Exactly.
Cool.
Right.
I like how he says that.
Yeah, I do too. We may coin that phrase.
Conserve to conserve.
That's right.
All right. Well, we appreciate everybody tuning in today. Thank you, Brooks. Thank you, Don.
You bet.
And we'll be back here again next week, as always, here at Tennessee Wildcast, and we thank y'all for tuning in.
Thanks for tuning in. Stay connected with TWRA by visiting our website at tnwildlife.org and follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Hey, it's all about Tennessee wildlife. It's what we do. Tennessee Wildcast will be on the air again next week. We'll see you then.